Hey guys, Noah here with the Pain Project. I'm in St. Paul, Minnesota. I just tripped. This is the North End neighborhood. It's kind of like a blue collar, stable neighborhood, like, a little bit block by block. Okay to, oh God, index, I would say 3. I've heard gunshots at nighttime, but not every night. Anyways, I want to tell you the story of my first rental property. So I moved from Boston after living there for 10 years. In mid-2019, I didn't have a job when I got here, and I was staying at my brother's house. But I ended up going to my parents' house for a while in Madison, Wisconsin. So what happened was I was just eager to get a deal, right? I never had a deal before. Moved here to invest, so I needed to get a deal. I didn't have a job. What did I do? So the issue is that if you don't have a W-2, people won't lend to you, right? So that time I wasn't working. I did have like $60,000 saved up from when I was working in Boston. So what happened was that I was just on the MLS every day, just, through the MLS, trying to find anything that worked. I knew I wanted to invest in the Twin Cities. I didn't know anything about the neighborhoods. So what happened was that I came upon this listing, right? And it said, duplex, 150,000. Didn't know the neighborhood, but I knew that was a decent price, Didn't really know the rents that well. And I knew they wouldn't lend to me, but what I saw in the description is it said, offering contract for deed. I didn't really know what that meant, but I looked it up. What it basically is seller financing. So if you can't get bank financing, the seller will finance your deal for you for a high interest rate for a short period of time. It's almost like they're giving you a hard money loan, but they're providing it to you. And they don't send the property over to you. They just give you, it's almost like an option. Like they give you the right to purchase it after a certain amount of time. Anyways, so what happened is I called my realtor and I said, hey, I really want this deal. And he said, I don't know about the neighborhood, but I can go look at it for you. I said, all right, sounds good. So we did a Skype walkthrough where he walked through the whole the building with me, and he's like, the area's not going to appreciate much, but it looks okay. The place itself, it's like, for example, the bathroom is going to need a gut rehab, this, that, and the other. It's not horrible, but it definitely needs some work. I said, I was wearing the rose-colored glasses at that point, and it was all, I was just so ready to jump in. I said, okay, sounds good. So I put in an offer, right, for $150, what they were asking. I had never stepped foot in it myself, right? So they came back and they said, actually, we need your highest and best by like this a day or two, like next Tuesday. And I didn't really know much at that time, but now I know what a lot of times they'll do is they'll say, we need your highest and best. And the psychology of that is that it forces the buyers to think that it's being bid up, right? Whereas in retrospect, there were a few 150 duplexes on the market. Was this better than the other ones? No. At that time, were they going fast? No. So honestly, probably wasn't being bid up. It was probably just trying to get the buyers to just automatically increase their bid, thinking that they were going to get bid out if they didn't do that. So anyways, I said, holy moly, I gotta, go higher. So my realtor, I don't mind the guy. He's good and all that. No names, but it's possible he didn't mind that I was bidding higher, right? Higher commission, whatever. I would do the same thing in his position. It's business. But anyways, I put down 160 or 160K. And lo and behold, they said, we'll accept your offer, but we only give a contract for deed for an LLC. I said, LLC? I don't have any properties. Like, I don't know anything about LLCs, My realtor said, and this is, in retrospect, it was great to work with the guy, right? Yikes. Other side of the street. So anyways, good to work with the guy. He said, it's easy. Just set up an LLC. I was like, what? How are you going to do that? He said, just go to the state's website. You can do it in half an hour. So call me in half an hour when you're done, right? Whatever, $50 later. So I went to the website, set up my LLC, called back. I was like, I did it, I think. He said, okay, called back the seller, and they ended up accepting my offer. So, I ended up going to the property. Man, I'm glad I was wearing those rose-colored glasses, because I walked in there. Man, it smelled so much like smoke. Friggin', and just a lot needed doing. Total sort of cosmetic rehab. But luckily, the bones, the fundamentals, the systems were all working, even though they're kind of old, right? So I soon realized I didn't have any money for the rehab, which is what I thought I'd be able to hire that out. I couldn't. So what happened is that I didn't have a place to live in St. Paul at that point. I lived in the duplex when I was rehabbing it. So every day I would sleep in one unit and I'd go to the other unit and I'd work on it the whole day. I worked like 12, 14-hour days. And after 3 weeks, I was so tired of doing this. I was like, that's bad. So anyways, I didn't have a job at that time, so I could do that. But man, it was hot in there. It was probably like 85 degrees. I was peeling lead. I don't know if it was lead or not. I didn't get it tested, but I was peeling paint off the ceilings. Just, it was bad. Anyways, I was doing all kinds of stuff myself. But in the end, what I had to do is I only had a few thousand left. And I said, on the outside, it doesn't look that good. So what I did is I nickeled and dimed with siding people to do $10,000 of siding. That's all. And then I got a place to rent and moved out. Interviewed some property managers and handed it off to one of them. So a few weeks went by, it just, it wasn't renting. So, eventually he came to me and said, we should try to do Section 8. And I said, well, I never thought of that before. And he said, well, I've done it a lot. We can do it. I do this all the time. You'll get higher rent. I said, all right, why don't we try that? So he interviewed a bunch of people. He got a tenant in, number one. But number two, we were having a lot of trouble. We were interviewing. I don't know, it was like either people had legal problems or, bad rental history or whatever. So eventually we got someone in there, we accepted her, and it was problems from day one. She was, first off, it was trash. She just wouldn't pick up the trash. The city was called multiple times, neighbors were upset, this, that, and the other. I would drive by there and like, you know, for no reason the screens were kicked out, or like for no reason the screen door closer was just wrecked, and you know, she'd walk out of the house, just slam the door, drive away, some really bad car, all this. So I was like, oh, this is so bad, you know, how are we gonna, it's a pandemic, we can't, you know, we can't enter lease, this and the other. So eventually, you know, but it, you know, the rent was coming in, that's Section 8, is that the rent always comes in. So I wasn't complaining too much. You know, every month I get the rent. It was great. So then I get a call from my property manager. Hey, you know, Noah, you wanna give me a call back? I said, all right. Sounds good. Called him. Hey, so you know what happened is that your tenant passed away. I said, what? Yeah, your tenant, she passed away. It was a drug overdose. You know, it's sad because she has kids that live in there, that were living there, you know. You know, so it was real bad. And what happened after that is, you know, he called me again. He said, hey, one of her friends broke the window. You know, like friends, right? Broke the window trying to get any drugs that were left in the place. You know, the police called and we had to replace the window, and it was just all types of craziness. So, you know, so then, you know, he's like, you know, and she was really hard in the place. It was all messed up. But we have a contractor going in there. It's going to be probably like just shy of $3,000 to get it fixed up, which for me was like A-okay. You know, seeing as how bad it had been. So anyways, you know, there's all that. So I was thinking, you know, this deal, you know, is it good? Is it bad? And to this day, you know, I'm not sure if it's good or bad, because it's like, yeah, it was my first deal. I think I bought it. It ended up being a decent neighborhood. Like, I'm walking around for a long time. My house, it's probably the worst one on the block, right? So that's a good if it's the worst one on the block. It's not that crazy up here. You know, the prices are good. It's appreciated. You know, maybe 7,000 since last year. Apart from the incident with her passing away, the rental history, honestly, has been good. It's for Section 8, right? So the government does not pay rent late, fortunately. You know, in terms of doing it with, one thing I'll tell you about the contract for deed. What happened is that's a 6-month deal. So they said, you know, we'll give this to you, basically seller financing for 6 months. Then you can either refinance out of it or you can extend it 6 more months for $5,000. Or we'll come break your kneecaps or whatever. And they said, this is 12%. The interest is 12% annually. So it's 12% per year, just divided by 12 months, and that's what you pay. Interest only, right? So, anyways, with the financing part, I ended up going to a bank, right? It's actually a bank I love, but at this time, I didn't communicate well with them, and it was my fault, and it didn't work out exactly like I needed it to. So what happened is that I wanted to refinance out of this. I wanted it to be a BRRRR deal. Buy, rehab, refinance. No, buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. 4 R's. Anyways, so I wanted to refinance out. My numbers were all wrong, so it wasn't going to work, but I wanted to refinance out for the appraised value. And they were only willing to refinance for my purchase and rehab that I'd put into it. So I wanted a loan based on the value. They gave me a loan based on the price of the acquisition and price of the rehab, right? Not the appraised value. So what that meant in the end is that at closing, to get 20, but they were willing to do 80% loan to value, loan to price, that is. So at the end, to make up the 20% equity in my deal, I had to bring like $14,000 to the closing table. And I hadn't had a job for months, you know. I had just spent $10,000 on the siding plus $5,000 other stuff. So I was like at my last penny. I don't know how I got that $14,000 to bring to closing. Plus the closing costs were like probably $6,000. So in the end, it was a lot. Was it worth it? I spent maybe $4,000 to $6,000 for closing the first time. I spent $4,000 to $6,000 for closing the second time. Probably more towards $6,000. I had the holding costs, which were no rent and paying interest only on the mortgage, which was 12% annually. You know, plus utilities and all that. So, you know, was it worth it? I think it was worth it. You know, it wasn't a home run deal. It wasn't a BRRRR. So I didn't pull my money out. I left a lot in. I think I have probably 50,000 in equity in the deal right now, just sitting there. Was it worth it? It was worth it. Yeah, because the learning that took place. You know, I learned so much from that deal in terms of how to buy something, you know, from a distance and unseen, how to get a team together, how to start a business, how to use seller financing, how to use hard money, how to refinance, how to use a portfolio lender, you know, getting relationships together like that, how to use a management company, Section 8, you know, all these things. And the cherry on the cake for this deal was that in the end, you know, being as it in Section 8, this city, St. Paul, has a lot of programs that help because we have such a bad affordable housing crisis, you know, that I got into the 4D program through St. Paul. What that means is that if you keep your rents below 50 and 60% of the area median income, you can basically get 40% off on your taxes, right? So anyways, this deal, even if I didn't learn all that, so let's say I just like brought 25% down for a conventional investment loan through some rank is a Fannie Freddie financing. It would have even been a decent deal because I think at the end of the day, my cash on cash through cash flow loan is like, I don't know, 8-9%, something like that. So it's fine deal. But just based on what I learned, it became, I think for myself, totally worth it and a very good deal. So anyways, I'm going to take you to the property right now. You can take a look at it. You can see if you like it. If you think it's crappy, you can tell me. But I wish I could have done a walkthrough before the handyman basically fixed up the inside, because apparently there was like, you know, someone like knocked on the bathroom door, like, I'm not done. You're like, hell, you're not. Someone probably kicked in the bathroom door. There's a hole in it, you know, just this, that, and the other. So it's looking decent right now. We just put in some luxury vinyl plank for the flooring, and it looks nice. So I'm going to take you through there just so you can take a look at it. And then the last thing I'll do in the video is I'll run through the numbers for you. And please let me know if you think this is a good deal or if you don't, all right? Because I can take it, all right? All right, we're walking in right now. So, kind of still smells like cigarettes in here, to be honest. A little bit, but not too much. Smells actually a little bit like incense, which is kind of weird, but cleaner. Not bad. Use the light bulb. So anyways, what do we do on the rentals? Basically, just gotta make sure stuff looks all right. And if it needs replacing, replace it with stuff that's along the lines of our consistent theme. Like right here, this stove is kind of bad. So basically, I think the handyman is gonna get a full-size stove and possibly cut off the sign of this corner right here, just to leave room for a full-size stove. A white electric stove, probably a refurbished one, as we use some different companies. Right here, we have this Formica counter. Look, it's fine. I'm not gonna yank on it too hard, but we got these, you know, the cupboards, they're decent, they're fine. What we do is we have the same gray for everything and the same white trim. And then any hardware we have, we make it black. So like these curtain rods right here, I wouldn't do that again unless for some reason I needed to, like it was a really wide window where I couldn't find any blinds for it, for example. But like curtain rods, they're expensive and they'll just tear them out anyways. The bathroom, you know, it looks decent now. Like he put that in, he put this in. We need to fix up a little bit the shower, just a shower curtain, but yeah, like this door apparently, like right here, she said it was kicked in and it was just messed up. So all in all, from what I was expecting, it ain't bad. Like really ain't, you know. And in here we got the, you know, it looks nice in here. It's that gray we were talking about. And these floors, these are brand new. These are the luxury vinyl plank. These are brand new, right? So that's good. So we got that, it's fine. And then we got a nice room in here, same deal, you know. So what does a unit like this go for? Don't quote me, but in St. Paul, you know, if it's like this with these, this isn't like anything near A. This is like a solid C property from someone who's not a slumlord, wants to provide clean, safe, decent units that work and all that. The rent's probably gonna be 11 to 1200 if it's not Section 8. If it is Section 8, then you get higher rent. So I think, I'm forgetting exactly what it is, but I think it caps out at like almost 1300 a month. So that's good, really good for this unit, because you get that. Maybe like 1200 if it's Section 8, 1250 maybe, depending on what they're willing to pay. This is a nice unit, it's not bad at all. I mean, it's totally fine. It's warm in here, you know? So that's what we're dealing with. You know, I wish I could show it to you when it was messed up, before and after, but there might be more opportunity for that, we'll see. I'm just gonna show you the house right now. We know that, I think the tenants are like by the window, so I just don't wanna get them in the video. But anyways, you kind of saw the house right there. It's right there in the background. Ding, the blue one. Actually looks nice. It's like a kind of nice, simple Cape Cod. I like that. I don't like all that ornamentation on the outside with the woodwork and stuff, because come time to renovate that stuff, oh man, it would be so expensive. Okay, let's do the numbers on this duplex. So I have a spreadsheet here, but this spreadsheet basically only goes from when I refinance with the portfolio loan onwards. So let's start a little bit further back when I first bought it with the contract for deed. So I bought it in July 2019 for $160, put down 10%, which was $16,000. There was an annual interest rate of 12% that was divided by 12 months. So that was 12 interest-only payments of about $1,440, so $1,440. But I paid that for 5 months, so I went from July until December. So that was about $7,200 in interest-only payments. I rehabbed it for $15,000, mostly myself. And then in December, I refinanced it with a portfolio loan. The thing about this portfolio loan was that it was 80% loan to purchase price. Unfortunately, it was not loan to value, so it wasn't the appraised value like I thought it was. So because it was 10% down payment originally with a contract for deed, but it was 20% down payment with portfolio loan, I actually had to bring another 16 to the second closing, which was 32 in all. And then unfortunately, because I bought it with a contract for deed and then I refinanced it with a portfolio loan, I had to pay closing costs twice. So all the costs were about 10,000 for the double closing costs, 15,000 for the rehab. It was 7,200 for the interest only payments. And then because my tenant just passed away, unfortunately, that was about 4,000 to turn that over because she kind of messed it up a lot. Basically everything I put down, down payment and the rest, it was about $68,000. I just kind of saw what the appraised value was of the property, and I have about 50,000 in there in equity, right? So I put down like 68 in all, and I have 50 in equity. So would this be a good BRRRR deal? No, it would not be a good BRRRR deal because I put in more, unfortunately, than there is equity. So the after repair value is higher than the actual appraised value. Because I'm holding on to the property, that shouldn't matter too much. In time, the appreciation should make that even out, and then the appraised value should exceed, what I have into it. But anyways, let's fast forward to this spreadsheet. This basically just says what we were just talking about. 160 purchase price, and then the new terms of the portfolio loan were 20% down. It's a 4.5% interest yearly, and it's 25-year AM. It's a 15-year term, which is good for a portfolio or a commercial loan, which this is. And then if we go down to the property taxes, this is actually 40% lower than it should be because I'm in this program through Ramsey County, through St. Paul, which gives you 40% off your taxes if you certify a property as a like affordable housing. So it's got to be below 50 and 60% of the area median income, and then you get that tax reduction. Insurance is $1,500. Maintenance and repairs, I basically clump maintenance, repairs, and vacancy into one, and I put 15% of the gross rent away. Whether that is too much or too little, let me know. Utilities, unfortunately, I pay water, sewer, garbage, and gas. Gas is the natural gas furnace and the water heater. Sometimes, like, heat is kind of the wild card around here. Like, pretty much all landlords will pay water, sewer, garbage, unless you have, like, a side-by-side duplex or, like, townhouse-style multifamily. But unfortunately, I pay water, sewer, and gas. And then we have 7% of the gross rent for the property management, which is pretty affordable. So all in all, I get 500 cash flow a month if the other unit that we're trying to rent now was rented. So right now I'm getting like half of that essentially, which is cool because it's still, sorry, actually I'm not getting half of that. I'm getting a lot less. It's not even breaking even right now. But anyways, in a perfect world, it would be. Return on investment or investment my cash on cash is like 8.2. If I put in the stock market, I would probably get a similar return, a lot more in the last, year, just because it's gone so well, with a lot less effort. However, with real estate, you also benefit in the other four ways. Beyond cash flow, you benefit by loan paydown, uh, taxes, um, appreciation, and then inflation. If you have debt on a property, that also benefits you. So is it a good deal? I think it's a good deal because it taught me so many lessons that I wouldn't know, and I can sort of apply to next deals. From a pure economic perspective, was it a good deal? In time, it will be. Immediately, borderline. Some people would say it's fine. Other people would say you could do a lot better. Would I buy it again? I'd probably pass it if I were to, review this deal for the first time. But as a very first deal, I can't say I'm too upset. I didn't necessarily lose out too bad. So, anyways, tell me what you think. I won't be offended. Tell me if you think it's horrible, if you think it's great. Comment, subscribe, yada yada. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.